It took me more than 45 years to understand what I will tell you in 8 minutes from the subscriber. The most expensive tax you'll ever pay isn't financial, it's the wisdom tax. It's the price of years spent learning lessons that could have been understood in mere minutes. Think about it. Most people spend decades figuring out what a select few realize much sooner. Life follows predictable patterns. Once you recognize these patterns, everything changes. The gap between where you are and where you could be isn't just knowledge, it's the right knowledge applied at the right time. Consider this. How many times have you finally grasped something and immediately thought, I wish I had known this years ago? We've all been there. That moment when a single insight suddenly makes years of struggle unnecessary. It's as if life is a game where some people received the instruction manual, while the rest of us are forced to learn through painful trial and error. Here's the interesting part. These insights aren't hidden. They're right in front of us, concealed only by our own assumptions. In the next few minutes, I'll share mental models that took me decades to discover, but could have saved me years of unnecessary struggle. Let's start with one of the most fundamental realizations. Your mental models determine what's possible for you. It took me more than 45 years to understand what I will tell you in 8 minutes from the subscriber. Chapter 1. Upgrading your mental models. Your mental models are like an invisible operating system running your life. They dictate which opportunities you can recognize, what solutions seem viable, and what outcomes feel achievable. Yet most people never examine them. We're like fish unaware of the water we swim in. Have you ever noticed how two people can look at the exact same situation and see completely different possibilities? That's not personality, it's mental models at work. Here's a concrete example. Most people operate with a scarcity mindset when it comes to time. They constantly feel like there's never enough. But what if time abundance was possible? Not through efficiency, but through intention? Instead of cramming more into each day, what if you fundamentally reimagined your relationship with time? We're fascinating creatures. We'll spend years mastering software like Excel, yet won't take 20 minutes to examine our own thinking patterns. But here's the truth. Your mental models are either a bridge to new possibilities or a wall blocking your progress. Upgrading them is the highest leverage action you can take. The challenge? Seeing your own mental models is like trying to see the back of your head without a mirror. You need tools for reflection. One of the most powerful is inversion, thinking backward from the outcome you want. Another is actively seeking disconfirming evidence instead of only looking for proof that supports your current beliefs. These small mental model shifts can completely rewire the way you approach problems, but they require something most people resist: deliberate discomfort. Chapter 2. The attention economy. Let's talk about the most valuable currency you own, your attention. In a world designed to fracture and monetize it, the ability to control your focus is a superpower. Yet we're taught time management instead of attention management. It's like being handed a leaky bucket and told to carry more water instead of fixing the holes. Here's what took me too long to realize: attention management matters far more than time management. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but how you direct your focused attention within those hours determines everything. Most people's attention is scattered across endless inputs, distractions, and obligations. But what if you practiced radical selectivity? This leads to a counterintuitive insight: the power of selective ignorance. We live in the first era of human history where the challenge isn't access to information, it's filtering it. Yet we still behave as if consuming more information automatically leads to better decisions. It's like drinking from a fire hose when all you need is a glass of water. True wisdom isn't about knowing more, it's about knowing the right things and applying them consistently. We're so busy consuming information that we rarely make space for implementing and integrating it. It's the difference between collecting ingredients and actually cooking a meal. Chapter 3. Decision Making. DECONSTRUCTED. Your life is the sum of your decisions. Yet, no one ever teaches you how to make decisions effectively. We study calculus but not how to choose the right career. We memorize historical dates but never learn how to evaluate life choices. It's bizarre when you think about it. Let me share 3 decision-making upgrades that changed everything for me. The 72-hour rule: for any major decision, wait at least 3 days before committing. This creates space between impulse and action, where wisdom lives. Second-order thinking. Instead of only considering immediate effects, ask yourself, and then what? True success comes from anticipating long-term consequences. Inversion. Instead of asking, how do I get what I want? Ask, what's preventing me from getting what I want? This shift often reveals obstacles you hadn't considered. It's funny how we'll agonize over a $20 purchase, but won't question lifelong beliefs. But here's the real insight. Most problems aren't solved by brilliant solutions. They're solved by better problem definitions. If you're solving the wrong problem, no solution, no matter how intelligent, will help. Chapter 4. Closing the implementation gap. There's a massive gap between knowing and doing, and most people never cross it. We live in a world where knowledge is abundant, yet transformation remains rare. Why? Because we overvalue information and undervalue implementation. Think about it. We celebrate the person who reads 100 books a year more than the person who actually applies the wisdom from just one book. Most advice is like trying to install software on a computer that doesn't have the right operating system. The information is correct, but the environment isn't compatible. Here's the breakthrough insight. Tiny, consistent actions trump sporadic, heroic efforts. The compound effect applies to everything, not just money. Your habits, relationships, and knowledge all compound, positively or negatively. When you truly understand this, you realize that small daily actions aren't just helpful, they're the entire game. Chapter 5. Designing Systems for Success. Willpower is overrated. Your environment dictates your success far more than sheer discipline. The most successful people don't rely on willpower. They design systems where success is the default. Goals give direction, but systems create results. For example, don't focus on losing 20 pounds. Focus on designing a system where healthy eating and exercise are automatic. When you get the system right, the results take care of themselves. Chapter 6. Identity-based transformation. Most change efforts fail because they focus on behaviors instead of identity. When someone identifies as a runner, they don't need motivation to run. It's just who they are. The person who says, "I'm the kind of person who exercises daily," will always outperform the one who says, "I should exercise more." Here's the ultimate realization. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes your thoughts. When this truth clicks, you stop being controlled by old mental patterns and start shaping them intentionally. Chapter 7. Wisdom. Integration. All these insights fit together into a single system. Your mental models shape your opportunities. Your attention determines what influences your thinking. Your decisions dictate your path. Your implementation turns knowledge into transformation. Your systems make success inevitable. Your identity determines whether any of it feels sustainable. Most people spend decades paying the wisdom tax, but you don't have to. Don't just absorb this information. Implement one insight today, because wisdom without action isn't wisdom at all. It's just trivia. It took me more than 45 years to understand what I will tell you in 8 minutes from the subscriber. Conclusion. The wisdom tax is the most expensive tax you'll ever pay. Not in money, but in wasted years learning lessons the hard way. But it doesn't have to be this way. By upgrading your mental models, managing your attention, improving decision-making, closing the implementation gap, designing better systems, and embracing identity-based transformation, you can bypass decades of unnecessary struggle. Wisdom isn't about knowing more, it's about knowing the right things and applying them consistently. The sooner you integrate these insights, the sooner you can design a life where success, growth, and fulfillment come naturally. Don't just absorb this knowledge. Act on it today, because wisdom without action is just another form of delay. According to statistics, 90% of those who watched up to this point are not subscribers. Please subscribe. It costs you nothing, and for me as a newbie, it is useful for promoting the channel. And I am also pleased that I am useful to you with my knowledge expressed in my videos. Thank you.